VTX 1800 ElectroSport Regulator Rectifier install. Kyle Bradshaw from Cruiser Customizing here with Trent from ElectroSport. We are going to install a regulator rectifier on this particular VTX that's been having issues maintaining a battery charge. So we believe that that's the issue for the battery not being able to keep a charge. So we're going to install this regulator rectifier. The stock regulator rectifier is sitting right here near the exhaust mount. So the first step in this process is going to be to remove the seat so we can get access to the stock connector. Once the seat's been removed, we're going to look for similar connectors right up underneath here. Under this boot, the 6-pin connector and the 3-pin.
Always good to just double check and make sure the OEM one looks identical to the ElectroSport regulator rectifier.
The regulator connections are underneath the seat, and after further inspection, the rectifier connection is going to be underneath this side cover. So once you've got that first cover off, we're going to take out these two 10mm bolts. It's going to allow us access to the pins. Now that we've got these two bolts removed, we're going to remove this chrome cover. So once we remove that chrome shroud, we found a bunch of wires underneath here. These are not the wires that you're looking for. Back behind the ignition, we found the 3 wires that we're going to need to insert in order to make this regulator rectifier work. There we go. We're now unplugged. Space constraints. We're not able to pull this plug through the clutch in the frame. So what we're going to have to do is, if you look inside here, there's little tiny plastic tabs that we're going to have to lift up so that we can pull out and disconnect each of these wires before pulling the cable through the other side. And this is what they look like when they come out. So now that we got the regulator plug unconnected, we need to unplug the rectifier plug, which is as simple as, hopefully much simpler than the last one, pushing this tab down and undoing the plug. We're now going to pull this wiring down through the bottom so we can feed the new wires back up to the top. Alright, and here we have the old regulator rectifier removed. Now we just need to pull the wires, strand the new wires up, and bolt up the new regulator rectifier. So here's our new regulator rectifier that we're just going to set up in place here. Run our bolts into the frame rail. Now that I've run the new regulator rectifier plug up through the frame, you can notice the different colors here. I'm going to go ahead and put some dielectric grease on the old connector just to ensure that we're going to get a really strong connection. So a dab of grease at the top of each of these, then I'll be able to plug this back together and move down to the regulator. There we go. We're plugged in. We can now pull the booties back over and get this put back together, the seat put back on. But before I do that, I'm going to jump over and finish the other connection. So now that we got these wires run back up from the other side, we need to stick them back down into their slots and pull them into place. We should hear a click. So you hear that click? That's the click that you need to hear in order to ensure that your wires have been reconnected properly. And here we go with the last piece. Now that I've reconnected each of those pins, I'm going to go ahead and throw some dielectric grease on each of these connection spots just to ensure that we get a positive connection. Hear that click? Perfect. Now we're going to pull this booty back up and over our connector and nestle it right back in behind the ignition where it started. Alright, now that we have the side cover installed, we're going to go ahead and put the seat back on.